right. Sorry. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in. Good afternoon. I'm Roohi Shaikh, CEO at Inogic. I'm the presenter for this session. I have along with me Balasaheb Mulavde, VP Technology. He's going to be helping me with the session and answering any queries you have. So let's get started. So as you know, the session is all about Maplytics, and I'm sure all of you have come here to understand like what's the business need of having a mapping component in a business application like CRM. And so before I go ahead and try to answer that, let me just step a little back and tell you about how we got started and how did Maplytics come about. So Maplytics has been around for more than a decade, and back then it started off as a request from a customer, and it was about store locator application. I believe everyone has heard about it, and it was back then it was a thing. Everybody wanted to do a store applicator, which would basically allow, like, if there's a customer that calls in and requests for what is the nearest location to any of your offices or stores, then the agent should be able to quickly look up and show in the data. So that's how it all got started. We started receiving multiple requests around that. And then, so we started doing research in this space, and it was all about like, if we can have customers using a map and they want to doing something like a store locator, then the same concept can be applied to businesses as well. It's about you going and able to find out where your customers are located and things like that. So that's how we got into it, and upon further research, we identified that visualization. So traditionally, any application that you do, business application, they have always been representation of data in the form of fields, columns, tables, rows. That's how you see it. Now, the moment you are able to place this data on a map, you start getting additional geographical insights, and that is how we started working upon Maplytics. So it started off like a simple visualization app, and eventually over the years we have started exploring this area further, and now it is one of the most comprehensive apps being used by over 250 clients across the globe. So let's go ahead and so yes, the business question: what business problems does Maplytics resolve? Why should you have a mapping component in your CRM? The first and foremost, like I said, is visualization. Visualizing your business data on a map instead of the traditional rows and columns allows you to get geographical insights. Now, when we are talking about visualization, it's not just simple placing of pushpins on the map and things like that showing up, but it is also about being able to color code and categorize your data, being able to pull in additional information. So say something like we also support census data tracking, right? So you can have census data overlays and then your business data plotted on the top of it, and then you have vast insights for you to take. So visualization, as I said, is the primary reason why a solution like Maplytics would help you out. And while we are talking about visualization, another key, like from a business point of view, it is all about saving cost, making sure your people are more efficient, making sure that, especially if you're in a business where you require your people to move around, you need to make sure that you're making the most of their time. You save less. Save less time. I mean, save less fuel cost and put in more time in actually meeting the customers. So with Maplytics, you would be able to resolve that issues as well. And now, while we are talking about traveling salesperson, it is in today's world is no longer about being in an office, setting up a desktop or a laptop and using the application there. It is all about information on the go, business on the go, being able to not just do read-only information. So it's not about being just able to access information, but also being able to action upon them. So with Maplytics is completely compatible with your mobile devices, and you can perform all of the operations while on the go. So you So your salesperson is going around and they want to quickly see if there are any other customers around, or they want to do planning for the next day. They are on the go and they can go ahead and do it. The next one that I would want to focus upon is real-time tracking, which means that, again, in today's world, when you have a customer put in a query or a problem, they want instant responses. And again, if that response involves you know, an agent from your company trying to visit them, then you need to be able to know the exact location of your field agents so that you know who is the closest one that can respond to them. So that is, again, real-time tracking that is supported using Maplytics. And finally, and actually not finally, but a few things that I'm going to cover in this session today. So it is about, when you're talking about large organizations, usually you have your entire business regions that you have, you define them into smaller territories, assign them to teams, and then let them manage their territories. And as a territory manager, you would know that defining of territories is not a one-time process. So you may define territories today, but as the business grow, you may want to, you know, a region grows too big to handle, and you may want to, you know, separate out and create more territories out of them, or there could be like 2 smaller territories out there that you want to merge them together, or maybe even, you know, be able to automatically create territories based on the size of the business in the region. So say suppose there is a region where you have 100 customers and there's another region where you just have 10 customers, and it's like an inequitable distribution of territories. And what you want is let the system automatically create territories. For me, I don't want to go the usual way of zip codes or counties or cities kind of thing, but rather just go ahead with the data that I have, the customer business that I have, and be able to automatically align the territories and suggest territories based on the business. So that is something that is also included using Maplytics. Now, moving forward, so now I just talked about the various scenarios or the problems that Maplytics tries to address. And if you see, and if you just go back and think about all of those problems that I talked about, they are not specific to a certain user role. Rather, they are actually something that is done by users or roles across the hierarchy of an organization. And in today's session, I like to touch upon 3 of these user personas. One of them being the sales rep or the field agent. Now, again, another thing that I would like to highlight here is, even though we throughout the demo I would be using the sales module, but Maplytics works with any of the modules, the service module, the field service, or even with Dataverse. So for this example, let me instead refer to them as field agents, right? So that is the first persona that we're going to cover. Next, we're going to talk about the scheduling admin or a coordinator. So in a large organization where your business is all about about your agents visiting your customers for service, you do have a scheduling manager who actually manages the schedule, and basically their job is just to plan the week or the month for the team. So that is another persona that we are going to touch upon today. And finally, we are going to talk about the sales manager, like, you know, building territories, data analytics. That is something that we are going to touch today. So let's get started with the first persona, that is that of the field agent. Now, to the left, you would see all of the needs listed. So these are basically as a sales person or as a field agent, these are some of the operations that you have to perform on a day-to-day basis. And to the right, if you see, we have mapped each of the features that will enable the field agent to perform these operations efficiently. So I'm going to give an online demo over here to actually show you that covers all of these needs of the salesperson with the features that are available in the application. So let me just switch screens over here. Right. Okay. So as a salesperson, when you log into CRM, so this is the sales module that I'm using over here, and if I navigate, to my, if I navigate to my active accounts view over here, if I navigate to my active accounts view over here, you will see that instead of being presented with the traditional view that was like table and rows, what you are actually being presented with is a map with your business data being plotted out there. So all of your the same, these are all the accounts. So all of the accounts that would otherwise have been represented in the form of just simple rows for you, you can actually now see them on the screen as a map. Now, if I were to hover across any of these push pins that you see over here, you can see information about the underlying records. Now, the information that you see on the hover is actually configurable. So you can go ahead and choose the information that you wish to choose. Now, I choose one of these push pins, and if you notice, the ribbon bar actually changed. So what you see is that even though the representation of the data changed from a table or a view to a map, you did not lose the benefits that you get from the out-of-the-box CRM ribbon bar. So you can still go ahead and perform all of the operations that is required. So as you can see that when I clicked on this, when I clicked on one of these push pins over here, the ribbon bar actually got updated and you are still able to perform all of these operations. Now when you click on, so if I click on say the deactivate button over here, you are actually able to perform, and if I click on confirm over here, it's going to go ahead and deactivate the record. So you see that even though presentation changed, the operations are still available, which means that you get best of both worlds. So moving forward, you see filters over here. Now this, if I click on this, this is actually going to open up the advanced find filters that are there, and this is like a query builder. It will let you do filters based on field operator value, right? And you can do a lot of filters with that. Now with Maplytics, what we offer is again the ability to filter records, but basically on geographical parameters. And we offer 3 types of searches. The first one be the radius search, which is like, or the proximity search. So you're going somewhere and you want to see, given a location, are there any customers or records that are plotted within a 5-mile radius kind of thing. So this is going to let you do that. The second one out here is basically a search by geographical parameters. So say you want to search for records by a zip code or a city or a country or any of those geographical parameters. This is what handles that. And finally, the third one, which is the ability to actually filter records. So you don't, it's not really a radius search, it's not really a zip code, but I can see these records plotted over here, and I just randomly want to draw a shape and say, I want to focus on these records. So basically, being the ability to filter records by drawing a shape on the screen is what we are looking for over here. So let me get started. Yeah, let me get started with the regional search, okay? So over here, I go ahead and choose postal code, okay? You can enter comma separated values of any of the postal codes that you would like to enter. So over here, I have entered 3 of them. Let me set the country as USA. And because I was in the My Accounts view, that is the data source that's by default selected. I can now, if you see all of the push pins right now are single color coded, right? Now what I can do is I want to categorize my accounts and I want to go by annual revenue. Okay, and if I do search over here right now, and you see that all of the records, instead of a single blank color push pin, you actually have these records now color coded, and it's not just color coded, but if you see these icons are different as well. So you can bring in your own icons as well. If you want to represent you have your own choice of images that you would like to use or icons you would like to use, you can do this. So now if you see that again, this was a geographical search by regional parameters, and you would say that this is something that I can do using these edit filters also. I can just simply say zip code is equal to the values that I entered, and I'm going to get the same result. You're going to get the same result, but what you also get in addition over here is, if you see, you can see all of those zip codes. You can see the boundaries of those zip codes. Now what this helps me understand is, like, now when I have this data plotted on these zip codes, I understand that you know, I can see the size of the region, and I can see the volume of my business in this region, and then I know if there are additional opportunities for me to explore, or if there are too many, you know, if I were plotting cases over here instead of customers, then I know this is a particular region. The size of the region, maybe I do not have enough people or agents in this region to support, which might be a reason for too many cases being reported. So you can see that with this simple filter, you get additional insights. So you're not just able to filter the records, but you get additional insights, geographical insights as well. Now, if I move forward to the next search that is available over here, okay, let's go by drawing. Okay, now I see that there are certain records over here. I need to focus on this region, and maybe I'll focus on this region. So using the drawing tool that is available, I can draw any kind of a shape. So I can draw this. Green I can't see well. Let me choose this color. And then I can also do a freehand drawing. So I'll just go about and do something like this, right? And now if I go ahead and say, okay, before doing that, let me just add one more component over here. So along with accounts, I can also overlay additional data sources. So even though I started with accounts, I'm not restricted to it. So say I want to also see my prospect information. I do that, and I can choose one of my views, which is my open views over here. I can choose a category for this as well. So I go ahead and choose rating, and now when I do a search, right, it performed a search, and it has restricted the results to a drawing. So this time it was I didn't have any of the other information. It was not a mile, it was not a postal code. Simple, go ahead, draw a shape, and it will let you filter the records by that. So now all of these categories that you see over here, okay, these legends over here also are interactive in the sense that you can actually filter the records, right? So say I want to just focus on my high value accounts. I can go ahead and use this as a filtering tool. It will let me filter, and these are all my high value accounts. I choose this customer, okay, it brings up the information card over here. And again, all of the information that you see over here is configurable as well to your choice. Now, I go ahead, I want to make a call to this customer and see if they're available for a quick meeting today. So I go ahead, click on the phone, and since I'm giving this demo on a desktop application, it is trying to open the Microsoft Teams. But as I said in my earlier presentation, Maplytics works on mobile devices as well. So, and this feature is available. So if you are performing the search on a mobile device and click on the phone, it is actually going to open up your dialer. So you can go ahead, dial the number, and have the conversation. Click cancel over here. So as a good practice, you made a call, the customer agreed, and as a good practice now, you want to record this information in CRM. So here are some quick action buttons that I have over here. Once again, they are configurable. I have added the option to record a phone call. When this is going to open up the out-of-the-box phone call activity record, and the conversation that you've had with the customer, you can just go ahead and record that conversation over here. So you can see that you were not just able to filter the records, you were able to gain quick access to information, make a phone call, and even record the phone call as an activity in CRM without having to navigate out of the screen. So, okay, good. We have had the conversation. I have done the good practice of recording the phone call, and the customer is willing to visit me. Now, as I said, one of the aspects is that when I'm going to visit this customer, why not I go ahead and see if there are any other prospects or any other customers that I might want to, within a 2 or 5 mile radius, that I might just want to call up and check if they're available for a meeting. So, I go ahead and pull up a new search screen, okay, and go ahead and set this as the start location, because I'm visiting, this is my primary customer, and I want to look for customers or prospects in and around them. So, I set this as the start location for my search, and I say let's do a 2 to 5 mile search. Okay. Once again, along with my accounts, why don't I even look at my leads? So, here are my leads. Go ahead and I choose my open leads over here. Let's do the drill. Annual revenue and rating. Wow, that's a lot of them that I have over here. So now let me do one thing also. I have 2 search results. I performed 2 search, and both the search results are over here. So let me just go ahead and hide the first search layer and come back over here. Okay. And these are too many records, so why don't I just go ahead and start filtering some of them. So let me just focus on these, and let me just focus on the hot leads, right? So I have few of them over here. So I decide that if I look at these, right, if I look at these over here, these are within a 2 mile radius of where I am planning to visit. I choose one of this, right, and I say let me add this as a stop on my route as well, and I know this is within 5 miles beyond the 2 mile, but I might just want to visit them. And how about this one too, right? And let's take this one, right? So I have added multiple stops on my route, and now I request them to present the route. Okay, so let me just go and hide my search results now so that we can focus on the route. So this is the route that has been presented. Now, if you see right now, the route has been designed based on the waypoints or the stops that I added to the route, right? Now, this is good when you have a particular order or a sequence in which you want to visit your customers. But often in terms of, if where you have a traveling salesperson, it is all about, just set up the best optimum route that is there, and they'll just drop and make a call and move forward. If that is what you're looking for, what you would want to do over here is request for an optimized route, right? And I'll say let's optimize by the shortest distance. Once I do this, I click on go. And you will see that the route has now been optimized based on the least travel, because we had said that you need to by the shortest distance, so it has optimized the route by that. Now, so I have added multiple waypoints over here right now for the demo, but say if it was a case where you were creating a route for a customer, a visit, and you wanted to share it with a customer, then you can actually use the share option that you have over here that will pull up an email, and it will put a short link to this route in the email. When the customer receives the email and clicks on the short link, it is actually on their mobile device, it is actually going to open up the default Maps application that is configured for their phone. So it could be Google Maps, and if Waze is the apps that you prefer, you could configure the system so that it opens in Waze app as well. So you can see that it is automatically configured the entire email compose the email with all of the directions and the short link over here that I was talking about. Now for this case, I am not really creating this route to share it with anyone. I would rather save it for my own self. So let me just go ahead and save this route. Now because let me just give it a name, and let me do it 1222. Okay, this is a name to the route so that I can identify it. Now I'll do it for today, but you could choose any date that you want. So when you do it for my routes, it will show up on that particular date. I'll choose today's date over here. Again, if you were a manager, okay, and you were doing it for somebody else within your team, you could have this route actually assigned to one of those users. In my case, I'll go ahead and choose Sam and save the route. And you see that what would earlier have been a very tedious operation for a salesperson to plan their day has now been just a matter of few minutes. Now I will just, the route is prepared, so it is good to now go. I will switch my screen to my mobile device to show how you can go ahead and a salesperson can then navigate this route through their phone. So let me just go ahead and plug this here. Okay. So this is the Power Apps mobile app that comes with Dynamics 365. So I have logged in to one of the sales modules, that is a sales app that is available. In the dashboard, I had added my routes over here. Okay, so you can see all of the routes. Let me just refresh the screen to bring up the route that I had just saved over here. So you remember 1222 was the route that I had created. I'll go over here and say plot route. And this will open up the same screen that I had presented to you on the desktop. Same route that we saved over there is now available over here. So yeah, you have given me a few appointments, but I think I can also add a couple more. So again, business on the go. I go ahead, okay, I say I want to look for, is there anyone else? Now remember, this thing is anyone along the route. It's not from a given start location, but along the route. Say I want to look for anybody that is within a 2-mile radius. Let me choose leads, and let me choose my open leads. I go ahead, plot it, and you see that all of my open leads that are within a 2-mile radius along the entire route has been plotted over here. I'll just, okay. So this one looks really close. Why don't I just add them to my route as a stop? And let me take this one too. Okay, so now I have actually been able to modify the route that was assigned to me. In this case, I did design my own route, but if a manager had assigned me a route, I was actually able to make modifications to the route and add additional waypoints. Now that I have modified the route, it just makes sense for me to go ahead and save the route so that my manager knows, or even just for audit trail, people know that there were additional waypoints or additional stops that I had on the way. So I'll go ahead and save this, and because it was an existing route, it's actually going to go ahead and update the route. Okay, so now I think I'm ready to start my journey. I click on the go. Now because this was a multi-stop route that I had designed, it is basically giving me all of the short links from point A to B, B to C, and so on. So let me just go ahead and choose the first stop, and it will navigate me over here. So I have Google Maps configured, so it's opened up in the Google Maps, and now I can go ahead and do my turn-by-turn navigation using the Google Maps. If you had, once again, if you had Waze as your preferred app, it would have done the same thing on the Waze app as well. Let me switch back over here, close this. So I had a good meeting, good first meeting. Now for my second meeting, the customer called in and said that why don't we just meet up for coffee instead, right? So now I need to find a coffee house, okay? So I go ahead, and now this is going to be my starting point to search for the coffee shops. So I go ahead and set this as the starting point for a point of interest search. So using point of interest, you can search for any of the locations. So right now we give short links to search for gas stations or hotels or coffee shops and things like that. But if you had any other keywords that you wanted to look out for, something like a CVS or something, you can actually choose the last option over here and type in your keyword. So let me choose coffee shops over here, and you see all of the coffee shops in that location have been plotted. Looks good. Let me just go to, yeah, this was where my meeting point was, and there is a coffee shop. So why don't I go ahead and add this to my route? I can go ahead and do that, okay? And let me just go ahead and request the route again, right? So I can make edits to my route on the go. Now another thing that works with the point of interest search over here is, so if I were to open one of the coffee house records over here, you would see that I'm presented with the name, the address, and the phone information, and you see a quick action button over there. So the point of interest search can actually be used as a lead gen tool for yourself as well. So say, assume I was somebody selling coffee beans. So all of the coffee houses are actually prospects for me, and if I find any of the coffee shops in and around, I can just get them added to my system. So I can click the quick action button over here. I can choose what I want to have this information recorded as, and go ahead and use this simply as a lead gen system. So you were able to see that using your desktop, using your mobile phone, as a salesperson, what would have been an extremely tedious job for me, I was able to perform all of these operations with ease using Maplytics. So let me just switch back to my presentation. Okay, I'll just go back over here. Okay, so let's move on to the next user persona, which is that of the scheduling admin that we talked about. Again, bringing up the slide over here, this is what a day in the life of a scheduling admin looks like. So to the left, again, all of the responsibilities or the operations that they perform on a daily basis, and to the right, you see once again all of the features that Maplytics includes that will assist them in performing all of these operations. So demo time. So we're back on the screen, and if you noticed in the last demo that I gave, we have basically touched upon two interfaces. One is this, where the default accounts view has been modified to now being shown as a map. Second, being able to access the same thing on the mobile app as well. And now what I would show you is the third interface that is available, which allows you to perform more detailed and advanced operations. So again, as a scheduling admin, like we said, it's all about planning the activities of your team, getting them the optimized routes for them. So over here, what we'll do is, instead of using accounts or contacts, I will instead use field service and choose work orders. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and list out all of the unscheduled work orders, and then as a scheduling admin, go ahead and schedule all of these work orders. So let's go ahead, and these are the unscheduled work orders. Go ahead, search. Okay, so wow, there are quite a few of them that I need to schedule. That's what a scheduling admin is for. So you can bring up this table over here, and you will see that there are 23 work orders that need to be scheduled. Now, definitely you don't want to do it like I did it in my previous example, which is selecting each one and saying add to route. No, that is not how you're going to do it. Besides, you have a team within which you want to distribute all of these 23 work orders. So let's go ahead and use the auto scheduling engine that is available. So here it's basically going to confirm that this is the data set that you want to use for your scheduling engine. I confirm. It moves forward and brings me a screen where it requests me to enter in all of the parameters that the scheduling engine requires to ensure that optimum routes are being planned for the team. I'm going to go ahead and plan this starting 17 next week, and only James and William are available. So let me just choose these two of them. Monday to Friday is a good enough time. I know that each of the at each of these locations they're going to spend about 75 minutes servicing. So that is the time that I also want the engine to take into account while planning the schedule. They start their day at 8, they end it at 5, they take a break at 12, and the break duration is 60 minutes. So and then I want to make sure that there is always some time extension. So let me just put in a buffer of 15 minutes over here to ensure that this schedule can be followed. Now this is primarily the only information that the scheduling engine requires to go ahead and do a multi-day, multi-user route planning. There are some advanced preferences though, which I would like to talk about here. Now when we are talking about being able to design an optimized route, it is important to know where you start from and where you stop, right? So this is basically the start and the end location of all the agents that you had included in the earlier over here. So I had selected James and Williams. If you want to change, these are the defaults that were in the system and it has picked up, but if you would like to edit them, you can go ahead and do that. Now moving on, and I just want to have just 4 appointments planned for each of them per day, right? I don't want to overburden them. So let's go ahead to the next tab, and this one is, so remember we had 23 work orders to schedule. Now these are all of those 23 work orders listed over here. I had said that it is 75 minutes that it takes at each of the locations, and that's why it has set up 75 over here. But I know that while servicing work order 611, I am definitely going to spend 2 hours over there. And I can make those edits over here on the fly, and the engine will, when it's planning the schedule, the engine is going to ensure that it is taking 120, it is going to take 2 hours to do this, okay? And with this, so this is some of the advanced preferences in case you wanted to modify the same. I go ahead, click proceed, and so this is, remember this is because it is doing a multi-day, multi-user, and depending there are 23 work orders to plan, it could be a little time consuming. Right now it is all about the internet, so just please bear with me. Yeah.
You started with accounts, and then you're using work orders to do all of your planning. Can you use custom entities?
Yes, you could use any of the entities, and it works with any of the modules as well. So when this is done, you will see that you have routes plotted for each of the agents that I had selected and for each of the days. So because I had said there were only 4 appointments that you could plan per day and there were 23 work orders, so you would have a multi-day. So you can see over here there are 2 routes, and if I go forward, so these are depending, as I change the day, you see the route changes, right? So this is, and over here you can see the routes for each of the persons, right? So over here when I choose William, it shows me what are the waypoints. Let me go to the previous day, right? I want to see James' route. If I click, these are the waypoints, these are the traveling directions. Note now this is still just a proposed route and schedule, right? It is not saved in the system. If everything looks good to you, if you click over here, you will also see the appointment times, right? Based on the travel time taken into consideration, it has also given the proposed schedule start and the schedule end times for your appointments. Now, once you're good with it, you will go ahead and click on save this data. Now, these are going to be created as, you could choose any of the activities that you would like to create them as. Because we're working with work orders, I will choose bookable resource booking over here. Put some information over here, and when I say create, it is going to go ahead and create a bookable resource booking against each of these work orders. Now, if you also, in addition to these activities, if you also wanted to create route, remember with route, you can actually use it on your mobile device for the turn-by-turn directions. So if you wanted routes to be created as well, you can enable that option. And now with this, you can see that what would have been not just a time-consuming process, but even a very difficult process has been reduced to nothing. You just have to enter a few parameters and the engine does everything for you. So this is what I would like to cover in the second persona that we have over here. And now let me just move on. Now, in the interest of time, for sales manager, I would, instead of doing a full-on demo over here, I have a short video that focuses on the territory management capabilities of the system, and I'll just go ahead and play that for you.
Hi, Sam here. Let us explore territory management by Maplytics.
Are you able to hear?
Where you can plot required regions, draw shapes, or directly upload shape files and Excel files on the map to create territories. Let us click Territory Management. Among the 3 options of by file, by region, and by drawing options, we will use by file option to create the territory. By file supports multiple formats of Excel and shape files. Let's use the Excel file to create territories based on the boundaries of Staten Island postal codes. Now let's click Plot. Based on the selections, we can view all of the regions in the Excel file, plotted here. Using Select, from the Alignment tool, we can simply assign Jamie to the above territory and create territory. With this, we can add geographical boundaries to fill the gap in out-of-the-box territory entity in the CRM. Also, we can click the Multi-Select tool to select multiple regions and create a territory. Let's say we want to create the territories based on the balanced distribution of the records for Staten Island. Now, plot records for Staten Island. Based on the plotted records, we can create territories simply by selecting these regions using multi-select. Then followed by right-click to create territory. Let's say we want 5 balanced territories to be created for 5 salespersons. Once ready with the territories, with one click we can create and assign territories to the respective records in the CRM. After assigning the territories, select Search by Territory from Plot Record Cards. Here, we will select all the territory of Staten Island to visualize them with their respective assigned records. Now select the Territory Management to get the Alignment tool. Using Select in the Alignment tool, let us right-click the above territory. We can use the Move To and Copy To for moving or copying the selected region to another territory and thus aligning the territories based on the requirements. To learn more about territory management, you can visit our booth 1334.
Okay.
Hi, Sam.
Sorry. Yeah. So in today's session, I've been able to touch upon a few of these, but I would again, like I said at the beginning, Maplytics is a lot more than I could cover in this 1-hour session that I had today. And I would highly recommend you guys to come down to booth 1334 after the session when the expo hall opens, and then we can have a chat with you about your individual needs. So here are some of the industry statistics that are presented over here. So this is the benefits of having a mapping component in business applications, which obviously is all about saving time and money, and definitely 30 to 40% increase in the touch points as well. And this has been confirmed by some of our marquee clients that have been using our application for more than a few years now. And I am lucky to actually have Abby with us over here from Re-Employability. I would like to invite Abby on stage to share her experience about the application. Over to you.
Can you guys hear me? Is that good? Awesome. So, hi everyone. I'm Abby Torres. I work for a company that's called Re-Employability. We offer professional services within the workers' comp industry. So, anybody here familiar with work comp? So, what we do, very basically, when a person is injured on the job and a workers' comp claim is created, if they're not able to perform their regular job duties, our company is called in, and we will do our best to match that injured worker with a nonprofit in their local area so that they can perform volunteer duties within their physical restrictions. And so the Maplytics map tool, can you still hear me? That just sounded weird. Okay, so the Maplytics map tool is an integral part of our service. We use this every day, all day. We've got a lot of needs. So as Roohi mentioned, there are different personas require, or different groups within the company require different, they have different needs to use the map. For sales and service, we have the need to assign territories, and as you can imagine, our sales team is a lot larger, or a lot smaller than our service team. We have different groupings, different territories, so we use Maplytics to assign different territories in different regions that sometimes overlap. We have the need to support clients and partners during local emergencies. So one of our values is partnership. And as we are serving injured workers who are going through a really tough time, and we're also serving nonprofits who rely on folks in their community. This is making all sorts of noises, okay. We also rely on nonprofits who rely on people within their community. It's important to take care of those relationships because we couldn't do what we need to do without the nonprofits' help. So we use Maplytics to view nearby records directly on the form. So one of the things that I'm not sure if Roohi showed was you can open a CRM record, and there's a feature called auto search, where as soon as you load the form, based on the criteria on the form, there's an area where you can display the map, and it can automatically plot those records. So when a nonprofit calls in, or if an injured worker calls in, we can open up a nonprofit form. We can open up the account record and automatically see injured workers who are available to volunteer within their area. And we see those, the proximity layers, so we can see injured workers who are within 2 miles from the nonprofit or 10 miles. So that has been super helpful to us and very important as well. It's important for us to indicate the different record types and criteria visually on the map. So one of the things that Roohi showed was you're able to plot different record types. You're not only able to plot different record types, you're also able to plot several views for the same record type and indicate a special pin of a different color or a different shape, so you can easily see the different kinds of records on that same map. Our main purpose of our program is to identify a potential volunteer match for an injured worker. So there are many nonprofits, as you know, if you've ever volunteered, their needs are very different. So some nonprofits need folks who can carry around boxes during the day to different, areas in their warehouse. There are some nonprofits who need folks to sort clothing. So there are different physical needs, and that's very important for us because we're dealing with people who have been injured. And so Maplytics is able to identify the nonprofits who can accommodate certain physical restrictions and those who cannot. So it makes it very easy for us to visually see on a map, very close to an injured worker's home, which nonprofits can accommodate them and which ones can't. Directly from the map, we have a need to create the activities and create related records from the map. So we do this in two ways. In one way, you can click the point on the map, as Roohi showed, and it opens up the details of the record. Right from there, you can create like a phone call or a task. For us, it's a placement call, so we'll call that nonprofit and see if they have availability to take the injured worker. And you can also bulk execute workflows. So as Roohi showed, once you plot a bunch of records on the map, you can view the details, you can export those records into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can also select all the records, run a workflow all at once. So what used to take a very long time to create those activities individually can now happen pretty instantaneously. We also have a need for those driving directions. So as soon as we secure an assignment for an injured worker at a nonprofit near their house, driving directions are generated automatically. They're merged in an offer packet so that can be sent to the injured worker. Before Maplytics, we use that. Anybody familiar with Streets and Trips? Blast from the past, anybody? Yeah. So that's what we were dealing with before Maplytics. We would have to open a completely separate program, manually plot the points, generate those driving directions, print it out, merge it together. So it was a very extensive process. And after this, we started to leverage Google Maps. And that just, again, you have to cut and paste the addresses. So the folks who are using Maplytics today have no idea what a pain it was to just plot two different addresses. So another need that we have is to auto-create activities within a defined radius or location upon record creation. So one of the things that Roohi and her team have been able to do for us, which, side note, it's an incredible team to work with. I'm an idea person, so I get ideas all the time. Can we do this, Roohi? Can we do this? She's never told me no. She's always found a way to do it. So one of the things that we recently implemented in the last year is as soon as we get an injured worker in our system that needs a volunteer placement, the tool that Roohi and her team have built will query all of our nonprofits. They'll match those criteria, and it automatically shoots a text to that nonprofit saying, hey, we have a volunteer available in your area. Those things are not possible without Maplytics because we have a specific radius that we need to stay in. So all of this to be said, a lot of benefits that Maplytic gives us. We have automatic record assignments, improved customer and partner relationships, faster delivery of matched assignment for the customer and the injured worker, and the process time savings. So I added a very quick time study over here for our placement process. So when a placement representative gets a file and we need to match that injured worker with a nonprofit, we've estimated that the mapping features alone have saved about 8 minutes on that process, usually more. The driving directions, the fact that we don't have to go to an external tool or an external software, and those directions are automatically plotted and merged into a document. It saves about 4 minutes. So 12 minutes per placement, 60 placements a day, which is pretty low. That saves about a day and a half of one worker's day. So it's about 12 hours per day, a day and a half of a worker's time, and that's approximately about $5,000 a month. And that is really just for just the mapping features alone and just the driving directions alone. That is not taking into account the scheduling and the sales components, as Roohi mentioned. So again, I'm a big fan of Inogic. This tool, we couldn't do what we do without it. So highly recommend. And I've been working with them for about 5 years now, and this tool just gets better and better. So.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you so much. So I guess I did add the slide, but after hearing Abby, I don't think I need to talk about the slide. A couple of points though that I would like to talk about here that basically differentiate us from others in the industry. The first one being that Maplytics is a managed solution that works completely and resides completely within the CRM application, which means that there is no, you don't need to integrate with an external system. There is no hosted environment. Your data is completely safe and secure, other than the address information that needs to be sent out to Bings for obviously geocoding purposes. There is no sharing of information to any of the external entities, including ourselves. And like I said, this application has been around for a decade, and it has been our endeavor to make sure that we stay on the latest and the greatest. So there are about 3 releases that we planned each year for Maplytics, apart from ensuring that Maplytics is compatible and we are always on the top of the release cycles that Microsoft has. So this ensures that the product is always compatible with whatever Microsoft is about to release. And with that, I would like to open the floor for any questions if you may have. Yeah, please. Sorry, can you come back again on that?
The mapping feature, like the routing feature, will
Right.
display updated traffic?
Yeah, so if I can just move over here in the options section, I didn't enable it because I wasn't sure with the internet would it, so say, let me just go to the options. Yeah, okay, here, I can just, yeah. We have this plotted over here. So if you go over here and enable traffic, it is going to show you the traffic information as well. So anytime, so like when I was doing a plot route from the mobile device, if I had enabled it, it would show the real-time traffic information right there. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. उनके पास जाओ. Sorry, can you just speak to the mic? Mike, I cannot hear you well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that on?
Yeah.
There we go. So we have kind of a different business model where we do complex machinery, so our work orders are rarely under a day. They're usually multiple days. They can be a couple weeks. And this is something that field service for CRM has always struggled with, is doing the multi-day booking. I wanted to kind of revisit one thing that you mentioned about being able to go forward in time and look at the end location of a given work order. So where we struggle with is schedulers looking into the future to say, in a week, this guy's going to be finishing in Toronto, and he needs to go to Baltimore next. A lot of these service solutions are for like the Comcast model where they have multiple stops in a day. We don't have that. We have multiple stops in a month maybe, but can you go forward in time and look at where bookings are ending and you need to go to the next location?
So we had something like, we have something like, if I bring up that thing, we have something like continue from where you stop. So say suppose somebody is going to stay overnight, right? You have reached from one city to the other, and now you don't want to come back to the start location, but rather your day 2 is going to be from there, other things. So we do have in the screen, we do have that option of so when I bring this auto scheduling over here, okay, let me just plot some data. We do have an option of continue from where you end. So when the appointment engine is going to plan the location, it'll pick up the last location of the previous day, the last appointment for the previous day, and it is going to continue from there. Yeah, that's going to be there. You had a question? Yeah.
All right, thanks. So we actually have Maplytics, and I guess one of the things that we're struggling with right now is we have internal sales that support our externals, and our externals might have their own calendar that they manage and exchange. How can we get them to actually be able to schedule a map around what their existing calendar is in Exchange and be able to connect the two and work in that way? Can it do that? Because we haven't found.
I think we'll have to talk about that offline, because right now you have external agents. So basically the information is not within CRM. That's what I understand, right? They have a calendar, but it's not within CRM. So presently all of the integration is from within what you have in your CRM application. Yeah. Okay.
So one more question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So of course this works on geocoding, but suppose if we import 10,000 contacts at a time, does it take some time to geocode everything, or?
No, so the geocoding is a background process.
So
right?
it takes time to.
Yeah, so you can it'll run in the it is a real time process also. So if you're a first time user and you want to do all of your historical information, you can submit a job and it'll keep geocoding. So you don't really have to stop your work for it. It'll just run as a workflow.
But is there a time frame usually? How long usually it takes?
It is not too much. I think Bala Sahib would be the right person to answer this.
Oh, okay. So we can do overnight or something.
Yeah, we can do that.
So it's Windows based. I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And what about the Google API or Bing, the Baidu API from China? Does that support it, or?
Sorry?
In China, there is a Baidu API, right, instead of Bing?
No, so currently we are focusing on Bing. We are not looking at any other. Maybe in the future, that is something that we may consider, but as of today, the application only supports the Bing API. But if there is any, we have seen that the Bing Maps team is extremely supportive. So if there is something, in terms of anything that needs to be added to the Bing Maps API, or any region is incorrectly plotted or something, then they very quickly respond to making the corrections.
Is there any prioritization features, like for example, field agents out in the field to see which one might be best to go to a location?
So like I said, we do support real-time tracking. We do support a real-time tracking feature. So if you have people on the field using Maplytics, you can go ahead and track their locations and have that so all of that information can be plotted on the map. So say you have a request coming in from a customer, you can have that as your start location, and then with all of this real-time information that you are collecting from your field agents, you can have all of your field agents plotted right there, so you know which one is the closest. Yeah, so if all of these field agents, like somebody had some specialization and you were recording per user, you were recording the specialization through some kind of a field. So like I showed you categories over here, you could choose, you could categorize the records by them. So color coding would help you additionally to identify by distance as well as by your priority. Thank you. Thank you so much, and I'll just request all of you guys to please scan this and leave a feedback. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you at a booth.